Friends, colleagues and listeners, here we are again, another little podcast for you. And our guest today, somebody that we spoke to very recently and we decided we'd have a follow-up, is Stefan Braun, who's the MD and founder of SmartCEA. Now, Stefan, lovely to see you again.
Yes, lovely to see you again.
Yeah.
On a sunny day here in Germany.
Yeah, no, it's always good. It's always good. I love your enthusiasm and your engagement. And one of the reasons we said we'd have another chat was obviously within the call chain, etc. One of the most important things, in my opinion, anyhow, and across the business is communication, effective communication.
Yeah.
I say effective because there's an awful lot of talk in our business and a lot of informality. But the actual detail of what's been discussed and advised, we tend to be very reactive when things go wrong. That's when people are doing reports and all sorts of assessments, etc. Whereas if we were a lot more proactive and we were a lot more detailed in what we did at the beginning, I think it would be more effective. Now,
Yeah.
I know that's a big opening statement, but can you just tell us the importance of proactivity and communication, especially within your specialist sector?
I think the communication is for me really a key what you have to establish in all your relations, typically with your customers, what we do. Because I think the problem is when effective communication starts, when something goes in trouble, then that's the worst case situation. So I think you should establish an open way of a discussion from the beginning on. And the Chris, you have something? No, no.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was just going to say, I was just going to say something there, but I didn't want to interrupt you. But you just made me think of something there because, as you said, if when things go wrong, that's the time that you really start to interact with your customer. It's not the best way to show how good you are or to show how you're going to be able to follow up. But do you think that there's a lack of self-assessment, whether it be on process compliance or whether it be on effective continuity or contingency? Do you think there's an actual lack of awareness and lack of activity in that area?
that's a very, very, very good question. I think the main point is that you really need to start to build an open discussion from the beginning on. I think that is my main point. When something goes in trouble, then more this finger pointing thing is often in bigger. Not in bigger company, especially when you have and coaching is a complicated process where you have a lot of handover points, you have a lot of people involved, and then the question is, who was responsible if something goes wrong?
Yeah.
So and everyone say, I'm not that's me, that's the others, and I think and at the end of the day, errors happen or mistakes happen. But the main point, what I feel is, you should establish from the beginning on, let's say, a culture of fail, that you understand. What is our process? We can improve how we can improve this process by have a very proactive but constructive way of discussions. I mean, the typical situation is, if you have a temperature excursion, then this is the typical trouble starts, and everyone says, we have an excursion, but we followed all our rules. It could happen that something goes wrong, but at the end of the day, the idea is that you solve then this trouble in a general way, that it never happens. And I think this is what I feel the main problem sometimes in communication. It's a cultural element it's a personal element then cultural element is really a big topic because I'm a German. Germans are more direct than other countries maybe. Okay, the Dutch are also very direct. So that's. But if you have other cultures, then sometimes you have to handle how you can make a statement about a problem, but not feel the others are touched in a personal way. And all these things matters in communication. And this is why I think first, what I see is really to establish the process of communication from the beginning on is really key. That is for me the whole base. We spoke about all these AI things, and we have AI agents, but AI agents will not be, I think, understand culture in such a good way than humans. Maybe my personal opinion, and I think this is why we should really understand these things to
I
avoid
to
the troubles.
Yeah, totally agree. So if we put it into two categories, okay. So one is people need to be aware of things in advance and plan effectively, and also you mentioned the importance of understanding irregularities. And sometimes I feel that people are aware of the irregularities, but they don't trend analyze them to see which ones are important to try and eradicate, so that the overall improvement is there. Now, the second thing then is like you say, the culture, how to communicate, which is also a big problem at the moment, and the sensitivities of it. And that's I just want to come to that book you were talking about, The Cultural Map by Aaron Mayer. We were talking about that earlier. So if you just want to elaborate a little bit what you do as an organization, because you've got I'm sure you said 20 or 25 plus different nationalities working with you. Just explain what you do.
Languages, Chris. So this is the funny
Languages, sorry.
part. We have
Languages.
more languages than people in our company.
Oh
So
well, yeah. But I could say the same for myself. So I've got poor English, bad English, and rough English. So, but at the end of the day, right on that book, just explain what you do on day one of new people joining your organisation.
yeah, a little funny fact on our company. So I'm the only one from Bavaria in my company. We have three people from Germany, and the other people coming from different places around the world. And I read this book a couple of years and found this a good start. So if someone join our company, this new member of our team gets this book from the first day on.
Right.
And this is nice because we have so many cultural elements in us we don't see. The typical things are Germans are always on time. That's right. The German trains are never on time, so that's the typical thing. But I mean, it helps to get understanding of the different feelings, communication. We have customers in 25 countries around the world.
Yeah.
And there it's super important to understand how people react. And I think also a very important point is when you have a very mixed, multicultural team, it's also good to understand the different viewpoints. And it helps us also, our team is as mixed as our customers. So this gives us a very good understanding from different perspectives. When you have people from India and I have maybe not the right understanding, I can ask my team members from India, say, hey, is this right? Is this understanding right or wrong? And I think this really helps because at the end of the day, if you find a good understanding, then you can avoid a lot of these cultural misunderstanding. And this we have all in us. We cannot replace it. This is why I like this book so much, because this handles this in a very positive way to get an understanding and try to figure out how we can find a common way of communication that both parties feel comfortable. Because at the end of the day, that's important. And this is why from the beginning on, for me in a project, that's the key to set up a good base of communication. But it could be also the opposite. For us as a company, if you feel, oh, there's a customer which at the beginning it's hard with communication, you should really address it. And start with the complicated things first. Because when you feel our communication is a little bit rough, or I don't know, then you should address it. Because address it from the beginning when everything is in perfect shape, and not address it when something goes not so good anymore.
Oh, okay, let me ask you something.
Yeah, sure.
And I know Salem will be listening to this. Right, in your wisdom and your familiarity with the cultural map, what would you say are the common traits or what you need to be aware of for an Irish passport holder who's got a heavy London background?
Oh, that's a good question. So Oh, that's really something I don't can really answer in a good way. I don't know. I have no idea. But I will try to understand. Okay, what is your maybe interest in sports, or what is your interest in um, drinking beer, or in St. Patrick's Day, or I don't know, to try understand a little bit the background from you, from your family perspective, from your interests, to get a feeling about a communication.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
can always find a communication, because I feel everyone has a story. And to try to understand what is your story. I don't know your story, but maybe if we sit together with a beer, I think we understand our stories.
yeah,
So, and I think this is for me the main point is openness for a communication.
yeah. No,
Interest in others. I mean, that's the main feeling. And I travel so much, and it's always nice to get so much of learnings when you walk around. So
I agree. I agree. Yeah, what I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm only having a little bit of fun with you as well. But I was looking for something like you said about the Germans. You said Germans are always on time. They're
yeah.
always direct. What would you say is the standard or your standard understanding for the British?
Oh, the British. Sometimes my understanding was so very formal, very polite. Sometimes I think that's more my so proud of your history, proud of the British Empire in the past, proud of your king. So that's for my silly understandings.
No,
So so,
yeah,
so but I think also that you are super in football. Soccer for us it's football, but for the rest of the world it's maybe soccer. But I think this is something what is a cultural element. I think the British people are really enthusiastic about football. That's so the binding element what you have in all parts of the UK.
yeah,
So
yeah,
so so
yeah. No,
sometimes, but it's also German is also very football driven, so it's not so different sometimes. But yeah, that is my simple feelings. But at the end of the day, this is what I mean is the cultural element is only the cliff at the beginning when you are. But if you focus on persons, then I feel the cultural element is not so relevant, to be honest.
yeah, yeah. No, no.
So this is because you see this is only I don't know a few percent what you have in a communication. It's good to avoid some typical things. When you go to Asia, they are not so direct than we here. So you need to understand. Okay, give the others more room for questions or for follow-ups. You will interrupt me, or the Dutch will interrupt me. But if you go maybe to Japan or Korea, they will not interrupt me because that's unpolite in their cultural element. So
Yeah, yeah.
then
No,
you understand, okay, give the others room
yeah,
to give you questions. But these small things can really change a lot.
yeah.
I mean,
No, I
this
agree.
is the small element.
No, I agree. Now, right. So taking that now and getting back onto a serious note. So you've got all these different cultures, you've got all these different locations, and you've got all these different basic standard SOPs, LOPs, etc. Now, as far as the discipline of the process is concerned, with this communication issue, why do you think there are so many irregularities still being experienced?
Uh, well, that's a really hard question because I think the viewpoint on all this is really different from country to country. I don't know why we have so many regulations. What have so many uh, difference in the details. You have this GDP, then in the US you have a different. I have no really clue. I mean, I think that's the general bureaucracy element. What you have some core, and every country makes out something special.
Yeah.
When you see, if you go Brazil, say don't accept so much the stability data. Say oh, we should ship it in label. So in other countries they accept these easily. So but I think this is also what we need to try to adapt to understand. Okay, when you have a temperature excursion in a country where stability data is not allowed,
Yeah.
then it's a bigger problem as if you're in a country where say yes, you have stability data and you can use the stability data in a case where something goes wrong.
Yeah.
But it's also part of the risk assessment what we do. When
Yeah.
we run these digital models, we put in this type of things, and this is why I think we extract the facts out of these rules and try to make it comparable. I think that's maybe my only answer I can give you really on this.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And from all your data and also from your
Yeah.
risk assessments, and then ultimately, preferred route, preferred carrier, all those issues. Is that getting to a point now where it's almost as an organization, you would be silly not to support the most effective routing and the most effective partner, whether that be a carrier and a GHA and an airport? Because at the
Mhm.
end of the day, if people want to specialize, they need to collaborate as a community in certain locations rather than others. Is it getting to the point where it would be a risk in itself not to follow the prescribed guidelines?
Yes, this should be a risk if you not follow the prescribed guidelines, sure. But sometimes you have also to think at the process by itself, because sometimes yes, you have to follow these rules, but it depends on the situation. I don't know if I told you this in the last talk. This was in Corona, where we had the situation. One of our customers, Direct Relief, that's an NGO in the US,
Yeah.
as I have to send insulin to Addis Ababa.
Yeah.
And I remember this because this was beginning of Corona. I think it was May 2020 around.
Yeah.
The problem was, okay, we need to ship these tons of insulin, and we knew, okay, my stopover in Frankfurt could be delayed or missed, and what should we do when they put it in a warehouse?
Yeah.
So in the normal world, is why I mean follow the rules is always good. But in this exceptional case, the question was, okay, we need to ship it, and we need to make it safe. The point was, okay, if they put this passive shippers with ice packs in a too cold warehouse, we can kill our product because we can freeze it.
Yeah,
Too
exactly.
cold.
Yeah.
Typical problem what you have often that people see cold excursions are sometimes more critical than warm excursions, but it's a different topic. But the question was, okay, what could we do? And the recommendation was, in this special case, it's not completely, I would say, general in the normal world. Okay, leave the shipper half day out in Santa Barbara, no product in. Then the cool packs are not so cold anymore. Then you can ship it, and independent how they store it, then in Frankfurt, it will survive.
Yeah.
So they did it, and the insulin arrived in good shape, and the kids gets their insulin. So I mean, this is an exceptional case where you say you break the rules, not really, but you with all the data, you made a risk assessment what you normally would not do in a normal world. But this was a emergent case,
and also Stefan, I mean, and it's a common denominator across everything, but some of the decisions are made cost influenced at the front end,
yeah,
but not downstream where the responsibility should be. So when you're dealing with shippers and specialists, obviously they allow other people to take their decisions on their behalf who represent them. Would you say that needs to be improved? Because they don't have as much upstream influence?
Ooh, that's a good question because mainly we work with the pharma companies,
Yeah,
and they look at the whole process. So say also understand with our, let's say, technology, where are the critical points, how the whole picture looks like,
yeah,
because because I think that is the main problem when you look, when you, let's say, you hand it over to a logistics partner, and say, okay, they will do everything, and then you don't see the big picture.
yeah,
Because to your point, when the logistics partners mean mainly, okay, we can reduce the transport costs, but maybe what is the effect on the last mile on this? So
yeah.
I think this is why I feel, yes, it's good to hand it over to a partner, but I think you should still be clear what all these different angles or perspectives means for your whole product. So this
Exactly,
is why,
because
yeah.
exactly because like if just me now, right? If I hand it over to a logistics partner, that logistics partner makes choices on my behalf. So whether which trucking company, which forwarder, which GHA, which carrier, etc.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, if I am not insisting on certain prerequisites and criteria upstream, then that decision will probably be more cost influenced than it will be security of process.
Yeah, I think this, the point is sometimes if you hand it over and everything goes right, sometimes you don't ask. I mean, we see the situation, say, okay, if my forwarder do everything and we have no issue, then sometimes it's temp from company to company. Then people say, oh, everything was good, I hand it over, everything was fine.
Yeah.
The problem starts more if something goes wrong, then this, let's say, investigation starts. Say,
Yeah.
okay, you made it too cost reduction wise
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
mean, this is but this is the same with the communication. This is, you have to address at the beginning and say, okay, yes, we want to have a customized, cost optimized solution, but this is why our digital technology comes in, to prove upfront what cost savings you can make without not running in risk. I
Yeah.
give you a typical example. If you ship something with thermal blankets,
Yeah.
thermal blankets is, I would say, it's a very good or a very bad thing.
Yeah.
The good thing is, yes, you can make cost savings, you make carbon savings, but the bad thing is, if you don't understand your supply chain, you will lose your product with a super high probability.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is really the case where you cannot say I hand it over, because if you don't understand the capabilities of the supply chain of your partner, it could be super risky. But if you now start a deeper communication about all these details
Yeah.
and put this together in a perspective, then you can make it very bulletproof. But this is typically a discussion you don't follow up when you have, let's say, everything over engineered.
Yes.
But if you want to improve your supply chain, you go away from all this over engineering. Now this means you need to ask more educated questions. Is your tarmac time really half an hour? Or is it
Yes.
maybe also
Yes.
an hour? Or is it 20 minutes? So, but this comes to the point. You need to know what you ask,
Yeah.
because and this is why I think, this is where you have to look really on the picture, and you cannot hand it over and say use a blanket,
Yeah.
because it's nice, but if you don't know what are the consequences on the last mile and all these things, then the risk is super high that you fail. And I mean, this is back to the communication. If you communicate open from the start, means that you address also, we can never make half an hour. The
Exactly.
maximum we can give you is 40 minutes. And maybe you made it sometimes in half an hour. But that's not good to show the other partners, we half an hour, it's okay. And then you hope for the best. I think this is why there should come really this openness in and say, yes, realistic, we have 40 minutes. If we work hard on this, maybe we can get 30 hours. 30 minutes. But this is what I mean.
Yeah. No, no, I fully appreciate that. It always interests me though that, when decisions are made and also when findings come out, why are we still experiencing similar issues? And at the end of the day, it all comes down to people, practices, and process
Yeah,
or performance. And it's such a I think anyhow, if we discipline certain procedures and training and everything, we'd be in a much better position. And at the end of the day, to be relying an awful lot of the time on cost impact risk assessment, it's something that I don't feel is being done well enough.
yeah. And I mean, Chris, I think what we always learn in our project, that we get always a nice feedback that people say, you solved not our problem alone, you also give us more food for thought.
Yes,
I think
yes.
this is what we feel as a company. It's really a big element. Is not to say, okay, we solved the problem, we ship from A to B, how you make it. But
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
it's for us also a nice feedback from our customers. Say, oh, now I understand that this half an hour tarmac time is mission critical.
yeah,
So
yeah,
or this preconditioning of the cool packs could be a, a showstopper. I
yeah,
mean, and this type of let's say common discussion is
yeah,
also valuable as a side for typically our customers. They understand better. Okay, the next time I can ask my vendor or my forwarder this type of questions
yeah,
upfront to get a better understanding of all these things. And
yeah,
this is why
exactly.
we always see this is as a exchange of knowledge from both sides. We learn a lot from our customers, but we hope we can give something back, which is not only the solution to the specific project, it's more what we learn from all other projects, that people in general gets more educated. I would say, yeah, educated a little bit strange, but I mean that the knowledge is going higher for both sides. That's for
Yeah,
me a really big element.
yeah. No, understood, understood. Understood. It's an interesting subject, and especially as it's to do with the call chain. Stefan, thank you very much again for joining us, also sharing your insights, and again, always enthusiastic. Love it. And I
Always
look
a pleasure to have a nice discussion with you about things which are on the road of a safe and green cold chain.
yeah, no, exactly. And I look forward to seeing you at one of the conferences coming up. So,
Yeah, hope to see
I'll
you.
see you then, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Really
very much.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.